What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Elliott Delp.
Sorry.
Back again like you never left. And today we're going to be doing a comparison video comparing a mid-level AR-15 to a budget or low-end AR-15, kind of giving you the pros and cons of each, talking about price point, what you get for it, and what you can kind of expect for it. Because I think it's important to let you guys know, because a lot of you guys come to the channel to get an idea of what to look for when shopping for the first or maybe your second AR-15. I get a lot of
way options, bang for buck.
Exactly. I get a lot of DMs. I usually have a lot of good recommendations for people over on my Instagram, so make sure to check me out there. And then also there's the fail-safe. You can always go to the website basementoperator.com, and there's all kinds of builds to give you an idea of different suggestions. But in today's video, we kind of want to compare two different rifle. So this one right here, this is the BCM. We've had this for quite some time, and it's really a staple. We really like it. We've run it suppressed with different suppressors. We use it for different types of, optic reviews, kind of like what we have here on the Primary Arms 1 to 10. And we have a very good understanding of the rifle. We like it a lot, and we think it's a good mid-level representation. Yep. Sparky, you talk about the little PSA here.
Yeah, just your basic PSA 16-inch.
Oh yeah, just run of the mill. I think it's like 500 bucks or something like that.
500 bones just for the rifle.
PSA really is, I guess, a big contender. And then when you talk about budget rifles,
it's one entry-level AR-15.
And PSA can definitely push expensive rifles too. They have the Saber series, but this is just the normal 16-inch blim. And we're kind of using this as kind of the poster boy for the budget series rifle. So let's talk price point real quick. This one runs about $1,300 to $1,400. You can get a $900 upper, whether you get like, they have a bunch of different ones, but typically it's the BFG, I believe, or BFH. I can't remember exactly the acronym. Hunter, pop it up. Or if you want to see the exact one, it's on the builds. This thing runs about $1,300, $1,400, which is starting to push a little bit more expensive. Just depending on how you kit it out, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper, but $900 for the upper, about $3,500 for the lower, maybe
$350.
300, not 35. I'm stupid. $350 to $400, give or take, and all this is variable because it
all depends on where you get it from.
Yeah, it depends on where you get it from. We got ours from 801 Weapon Works. Big shout out Colt. And then you got the PSA. This one is $500. Straight out the gate.
Ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock and roll. And, to kind of talk about affiliation, we did get that one from PSA. We got it a while back. They didn't ask to be in this video. We just really liked the rifle. We got it for review, and we've kept it ever since. So, I mean, we've been very big fans of it for a budget series rifle. Before we dive into the shooting aspect, got to give a big shout out to True Shot because they actually funded this shooting extravaganza we're about to go on. True Shot is our go-to ammo supplier. Big shout out to them. They have a bunch of awesome stuff. You can head on over to basementoperator.com/links. Check out True Shot there. Top link in the description. We go there because they literally have everything. They have 5.56, 9mm, 308, basically anything you need to train.
All your planking stuff.
Yeah, all your training stuff, you can find it over at True Shot. If you use code DELP, it saves you $10 on $300 orders. So, if you're buying in bulk, you can use code DELP and it'll save you a little bit of money. Big thank you to True Shot for supporting the video, and let's do a little bit of shooting. I think we're going to do the BCM first. We're going to be using, as I previously mentioned, the Primary Arms SLX. I'm going to be running on the 1X, and we're just going to be shooting quick and cool because, Sparky, are you going to be the beeper for me?
Sure.
All right. Ready?
Shooter ready. Shooter ready.
Shooter's ready. Beep! I got him.
Did you?
Maybe.
Could you?
It's just such a good shooting gun.
Did you ever think about doing something a little quieter?
All right, Spark, you want to shoot yours a little bit?
Why, sure. Didn't bring it just to look at it.
Shooter ready?
Yes.
Beep!
Oh, well, you know what would help? Shooter's now ready.
All right, is shooter ready?
Maybe.
Beep! Oh, yeah.
I like it. I mean, it does the job.
So, in comparison, Sparky, here, why don't you, this one has a little bit. Why don't you give this one a go and tell me what you think about the difference between the two.
I'd say initially the trigger is the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
Better trigger. I like this grip a lot better in the furniture.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly the trigger is what gets it to me. That's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah.
But
here, let me do a little bit shooting with this one.
Shooter ready?
Shooter's ready. Beep.
What's the first thing you noticed?
Recoil.
Yeah, this gun's got a little more weight to it, and that's thanks to the heavier barrel and heavier handrail.
And the different gas system.
Yes.
Like I said, this runs a little bit hotter.
Yeah.
I think this is shoving the...
This probably made the cycle more different stuff.
One of the things... One of the things that I think is very apparent is recoil.
A little bit more?
A little bit more recoil, which I think has to do with the gas system in it. So
I'd say like the few more bells and whistles on this one compared to that one is going to attribute to that weight and helping, with the recoil on this one to a degree.
Yeah. And another thing I notice when I feel the two and hold the two is I just feel like...
This one's sturdier.
Yeah, I feel like the BCM just feels nicer. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like it just feels better made, and it might all be in my head, but I feel like the finish is nicer. I just feel like the overall...
All that comes down, I think, mainly on the furniture too. Like that's your initial contact with the firearm is furniture.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like when I pull the gun up, stock goes back. That one's gonna wobble. This one doesn't wobble near as much. So it's like I feel more confident with this rifle because it's just a sturdier rifle.
Sturdier firearm.
A sturdier firearm. I don't even want to go say better quality, just better bells and whistles, better furniture, better trigger. That's like I said, that's the first thing I noticed was trigger.
Better charging handle.
Yeah. Everything.
I mean, I just feel like I enjoy the product more. But obviously, you pay more for it, and that's one of the things that is a point to it, is you pay, this is
twice the price.
This is almost more than twice the price. It's almost 3 times the price. And I think really when it gets down to it that, you get what you pay for.
Sure.
To an extent, you get what you pay for. Before we go any further though, I think it's really important to talk about one of the big sponsors of the channel.
Brain matter retention device.
Brain matter retention device. Ballistic Armor Co. is a huge supporter of the channel. We love them a lot. They make some awesome helmets, super high quality helmets. So big shout out to Ballistic Armor Co. If you want to go check them out, you can head on over to basementoperator.com/links and they'll be at the top. You can use my code Hunter, pop it up on the bottom, and it'll save you some money at checkout. So big thank you to them for supporting the video. We love their stuff. We've been running it forever and a day now, 2-3 years now. So big thank you to them. So Sparky, let's talk a little bit about these rifles and kind of how we have them set up, and then we'll shoot them a little bit, and then we'll conclude.
Sure.
So the BCM is pretty simply set up. We have a primary arms 1-10 SLX. This is their new Nova, which has the red dot bright light in it.
It's very bright.
It's very bright. It's pretty sweet, actually.
Easy to acquire.
Yeah, and honestly, if you wanted to run it as a 1X, it's kind of like a pseudo substitute to a red dot. I think it'd be doable.
It's doable.
Primary arms, believe it or not, I think makes a really, really good optic that a lot of people will glance over them, and even their SLX line, which is their more budget series. I mean, you got one of their prisms. It is sweet.
It's probably my favorite optic I got.
Exactly. Moving a little bit further down, we have a BCM gunfighter grip. I like the little chode grips. They're pretty awesome.
Small hands.
Exactly, small hands. And then the Streamlight. I mean, it's hard to beat a Streamlight for $100. And we're talking about, the budget to mid-range. Streamlight's really hard to beat. And then also one of the little unnoticeable kind of quality of life things is this Strike Industries cable management.
That's a whole lot nicer than them Ranger bands you used to put on them things.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they're great. You have some.
I got arc bands.
No, you got some.
Well, I haven't put. Oh yeah, I got those, but I haven't used them yet. I'm waiting.
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
They're really nice. I like them a lot. And then Edgar Sherman sling, very basic. Then for the PSA, we have this one set up very similarly.
It's the rifle plus an optic and a sling.
Yeah, so it's just a standard rifle with a SIG MSR 1-6 LPVO on it. This is a really, really nice LPVO for the money. $200 to $300 depending. Sometimes you can find it $250. I think I paid $300.
And they come with the mount, don't they?
They do come with the mount, and the mount's really cool. To flip it over, It's got a auto leveler on it, so you just level it up with your.
Should get you close.
It gets you close. It doesn't like do it perfectly, but it's good enough to start.
Yeah, it gets you close.
And that's kind of how the gist of this.
Yeah.
It's not anything crazy. And then we have a 1021 tactical sling on it. It's just
Basic
you know,
furniture.
$60 sling. The furniture I kind of didn't talk about because that's more of getting into what you get for the money.
Correct.
Not really the setup. But they're just very simply laid out, good for like that close to medium range shooting. I really like the LPVOs because they do a really good job at, you know.
If you want look for an all-around optic,
LPVOs are really, really hard to beat. So let's talk about what you get for the money because, you know.
that's where your price differences are.
That's where your price differences really are. So with the BCM, you're getting these are all clear, by the way. Bolts should be open on both of them. You're getting a cold hammer forged barrel, which is really nice. And that's probably where a lot of
That's the big selling point.
Yeah, that's probably where a lot of the money goes to, because when PSA makes their cold hammer forged barrel products, they're a lot more expensive. And that's one of the reasons that you do go with BCMs, because you get a good, accurate firearm.
The barrel's gonna last so longer.
Yeah, you're getting 1 to 2 MOA, probably sub MOA with match grade ammunition. I think it's a good shooting rifle. I think it's great. It's been super reliable for us. We have, you know, hundreds of rounds through it. And like I said, we use it for a lot of different reviews. And I think for that $1,300, you're getting a lot of value out of it. The rail system's really nice. You don't have to worry about it moving. It has a very, very strong rail. It's got anti-rotation on it, where it basically mates up with the upper receiver and locks in. Then you have your locking mechanism right here, just directly in front of your upper. One thing it doesn't have is built-in QD points, but that's fine because BCM sends you a QD.
Oh,
no,
they send it to you.
BCM sends you a QD point, which is nice.
Yeah, that's very nice. That saves you $20-$30.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that when you cut in a QD point, it loses structural integrity on the rail. I don't know about that.
I don't know. That's here nor there.
Yeah, that's here nor there. Another really nice thing about the BCM rail, Sparky, is that it's M-LOK
All the way around.
all the way around. So on your 45, on your 90, and then...
So if you didn't want to run your Streamlight, you wanted to run your HRT.
And a PEC, because I was one of the few people that were able to run the HRT and the PEC because I was able to do that canted mount.
Yep.
So I'm really
got
big...
a lot of options for different attachments.
Exactly. I'm a really big fan of the BCM rail system. And again, that's what you're paying for when you're buying that $900 upper receiver. It's one of the, you know, just the nicer things, you know. So lower receiver is a little bit different story. BCM lower receivers are a little bit harder to come by just because of they either sell uppers or full guns. Like I said, we were able to get ours because Colt was able to source one. So big shout out to him. You know, you have BCM product stock and grip. You have a fairly nice trigger.
A little better than standard.
Yeah, a little bit better than a standard mil-spec trigger. And, you know, with the single stage, it's really nice, really crisp.
Yeah, brakes good. Radiant charging handle.
Yep. So all great stuff you can expect from the BCM. But the lower, I think, is if you wanted to buy a BCM upper and maybe a more inexpensive lower, I think
you could save a couple $100.
Yeah, I think you could save a couple $100. So Sparky, before we talk a little bit about the PSA, we got to give another big shout out to Stopbox. And if you're unfamiliar with Stopbox, they are a mechanical lockbox used to store firearms and other valuables. If you don't want your kids to get into it, essentially the gist. So it is a mechanical system, and all you have to do is press the combination and you can get in. It's super simple to do, so you can access it quickly. So if you have this by your nightstand or whatever,
in a drawer or whatever.
In a drawer, you can easily pop it and get your firearm and
ready to go.
And it is ready to go, and you can do what you need to do.
Preset your own code, no batteries needed.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome.
Made in USA. I heard it, Eagle screen.
So big thank you to Stopbox. If you want to check them out, head on over to basementoperator.com/links, and they'll be at the top of the page. Sparky, let's talk a little bit about the PSA. All right, so the PSA, this was a $500 rifle. Really one of the cheapest rifles you can get.
Cheapest I would go for sure.
Exactly, especially when you're talking about you get a free floated handguard and you don't have to really worry about, you know, swapping the handrail.
Yeah.
So let's go over basically from tip to butt, because this is $500 complete package. So you get basically a normal M4 stock. This is
4-position.
Yeah, the most standard piece of crap you can get. And then the A2 grip, and then you have your 7075 T6 aluminum, upper, lower, basic stuff. I mean, it's really just the run of the mill.
Yeah.
M16 bolt carrier group, and then you make it to your rail and your barrel.
Which does have M-lock down the sides and the bottom, but it's much thinner than the BCM.
It is much thinner. You don't get your M-lock around the whole entire rail system. This rail doesn't have the anti-rotation that the BCM has.
Sure.
So if you look on your BCM and your PSA, your BCM kind of bridges onto your upper, where your PSA just mates to your upper.
Sure.
So it doesn't bridge across, and it doesn't make sure that it's not rotating. The barrel on this is a carbine length gas system. Carbine length is a little bit shorter than the mid-length system that we have here on the BCM. I think it's a very useful system. I don't know if it's as reliable. It will run a little bit higher gas than the mid-length will, but overall, I think it's,
It's gonna run most what you put into it.
It'll run most what you put into it. It'll have a little bit higher dwell time because the barrels in the chamber are a little bit longer after the gas block than with the mid-length. But I think it's a very, very nice rifle, nice gas system for
what you pay.
For what you pay. It's going to do the job plinking, and that's really what I would say this rifle is great for. When you're buying a $500 rifle, you're not looking for a lot of the bells and whistles. You're looking for reliability, and you're looking for functionality.
And just to have one.
And just to have one. Get it in your hands, get training with it, become, efficient with the firearm, learn how the firearm's being used and how to use the firearm, learn how to clean it, learn how to take it apart, all that great stuff.
You might want to learn that one because you don't know how to
Yeah, I don't know how to clean shit. Shout out Boar though, they keep it going.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a really good rifle to get the basics on and to get it set up. Now, you really start lacking in terms of, your barrel and your rail. The barrel is nowhere near as accurate as the BCM. It will not hold up as long as the BCM over long-term use, and that's another thing to consider when you're buying.
It's a long-term investment.
It is a long-term investment, but how much are you going to be using these rifles?
Yeah, because that's the kicker for me. Is like if you're looking for one that I can beat up and take a little more abuse, and I wouldn't go as far as say use for your job, but if I wanted something that I'm not not necessarily buy once cry once, but some nicer than average, I'd lean towards that. That's going to be worth the money in the long run. For sure, you can buy 2 of these for the cost of that one.
Are you shooting it a lot, though? If you're shooting it a lot, I would say you probably want to spend a little bit more money.
Yeah, because if you're just going to, run a mag through it, sight it in, and it sits there until next summer when you and your boys go to the range.
Or on Thanksgiving, or whenever you do your fun shooting with your family.
Yeah, then pull it out for that. That's what most people are going to use it for. But, doing what we're doing, or just someone who's an avid shooter
and practicing a lot, shooting a lot,
then they're going to need something a little bit better quality, more or less,
more reliable, put more rounds through it, and
a little more rugged.
I have this discussion with a lot of people. Guns really start to show differences at higher round counts.
Yeah, that's when them small little minute differences matter. Higher
quality parts, higher quality build quality, I guess.
Yeah,
that stuff shines when you're at the higher round counts, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 rounds, and you're shooting a lot, you're going through a lot of clean cycles, or you're putting your gun through a hard course and you're not cleaning it for whatever reason, that's where the nicer firearms and the nicer parts and stuff like that start to shine. And I think that's what you really have to key in on when you're shopping for firearms, is what you're going to be using it for. And I think that holds true for everything. Now, we had introduced this video as budget and kind of mid-range. I think this is probably more of the top of the mid-range line. What I usually, when somebody says budget, I think of 500 to probably 750, give or take. And then I would say anything from 750 to like 1,400 bucks is probably your mid-range. And then about 1,500 to $2,000 is probably your upper range. And then you're spending $2,000 on a rifle. It's probably a pretty snazzy rifle,
Geisley,
exactly, Super Duty. So that begs to bring up a good point, BCM's not the only, you know, higher to mid-range rifle.
You could have grabbed an Arrow Precision and done this.
And Arrow Precision's a great option for a mid-range rifle. Stag.
Diamondback Obsidian.
I would say Diamondback Obsidian is probably more top of the line budget. Well, not the.
It's about the same. It's 1,100 bones.
Yeah, 1,100 bucks. So yeah. Some nicer rifles that would be on the upper end of budget. Maybe the Saber, depending on which Saber model you get. A lot of the Saber models come in at 1,000, but you can find 850, 900.
Yeah, sure. This is just a good example of.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to give some other stuff out there. So there's a lot of things to look at, a lot of things you can consider. If you want, you can always you know, DM me. But I think there's a place in the market for this one, and there's a place in the market for that one.
But this one, they can arguably do the same job.
They do send rounds downrange. And you know, if you're worried about PSA sending you a lemon for whatever reason, they have an excellent warranty. So does BCM. But I'm just saying, PSA has an excellent warranty.
And if you told me, Sparky, I got $1,200, what should I do? I'm like, okay, I buy PSA, buy 1,000 rounds, buy some mags.
Get you an optic.
Yeah.
Get you like a $150, $200 red dot, and then train.
I'd rather you do that than spend all your money on just a rifle.
Yeah, I agree. So it is a little bit more expensive. You do get a little bit more out of it.
I think it's worth it to spend more money on this one, in my opinion.
Save a little bit longer.
You save the most money dry fire in your mom's basement.
You do.
Correct.
Go check out Basement Operator. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what a guy. So I think that about does it for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, also follow Sparky on Instagram.
Please.
Yeah, it's all he's got.
I don't ever post anything, but you know.
It's an ego stroker.
That's right.
See ya.
Come here, boy. Grab my barrel.